Ever since the superhighway in Bloodhaven, Nightwing is actually on the run because now people are blaming him for the murderers on the superhighway, but it's actually a witch cult that's going on. And when Nightwing finds out there's decomposed bodies in the river next to the superhighway, he has to investigate on exactly who are these people are and why are they dead. This leads him to a Catholic church where this father right here actually killed these people because he compared them to the Joker. And now Dick Grayson has to figure out, is he right in on this? Is he going to take him to prison or take him out as well? Dan Waters, ever since he took over Nightwing, has been phenomenal. And don't get me wrong, I love Tom Taylor's Nightwing, but this to me is actually special. This is Nightwing issue 139. After Dick Grayson Nightwing spoke with this lady right here named Miss Eastbourne, which is a solo or independent detective. She says, the vigilante known as Nightwing visited me in my offices yesterday evening. The vigilante known as Nightwing is full of shit. He came to me full of outlandish claims, insisting that though he was in the car at the time of the crash, he was not alone. Nightwing explains to her saying that I was in the car, Prosecutor Eastbourne, but I was not alone. I picked up a hitchhiker, a young woman in distress, who I thought had probably left a clinic or hospital. Now I think she could have been something else. She spoke of being a witch, saying that she'd been hanged in Bloodhaven hundreds of years ago. She said she was back for revenge, to make the city feel as she did. When I tried to help her, she cut me. She grabbed the wheel and then we crashed. And now she's saying, of course, there's no evidence this woman exists. No witnesses who saw her in Nightwing's unregistered armored car. What's messed up here is that Nightwing tells her that I'm gonna find her before anyone else, but she continues on to the press saying, that's what these vigilantes always say, isn't it? There's always some other unverified party involved, and they have to vanish off into the night and find them, into the world of gods and monsters, leaving us behind to pick up the pieces. There is a legal term for that behavior. It's called hit and run, which is a felony. Perhaps there was someone else in Nightwing's car, but we don't know. By fleeing the crime scene, Nightwing stole closure from the families of the victims of the crash. I brought this testimonial with the other evidence of our private inquiry and gathered in front of a judge. A warrant has been issued for Nightwing's arrest. Again, Dick Grayson Nightwing is on the run in Bloodhaven. Again, every time he saved the city, they don't care. We have no way to force Nightwing to appear in court, of course. The police have attempted to apprehend him countless times, but let's face it, if Gotham has never gotten the Batman, it's unlikely it would happen here. Nightwing's been seen fraternizing with Superman, with the Flash. If he wants to escape, he will. So I'll address him directly. Nightwing, if you really think of yourself as Bloodhaven's hero, this is where you prove it. I have issued you a challenge. Turn yourself in at the courthouse at exactly this time 1 week from today, or prove you don't truly care about these people of the city. I honestly wonder if he knows his victims. And Nightwing's like, I sure do, Miss Eastbourne. He knows every single victim that died that night, and he actually has guilt over this as he flies through the city as the Boy Wonder. Nightwing is going through the city, right, doing acrobatic stuff, but also naming off every single person that died that night. And he says they will all still be here if I haven't been driving that night. And until the witch of Bloodhaven rears her head again, there is nothing I can do to find justice for them. This is the part where, my comms and, Barbara Gordon in my ear tell me, chin up, Wonder Boy. Excuse me, I meant Boy Wonder. But it doesn't matter because guess what? She's actually in prison. And they actually announced that because, of course, Barbara Gordon is having her own series right now and Dick Grayson is alone. And he's just drowning in his guilt and his sorrows. At this point, we actually pick up with Maggie Sawyer and Daniel Turpin, or Detective Turpin, investigating, all these bodies at the coastal part of Bloodhaven. And she's like, what the hell am I looking at, Detective Turpin? Bloodhaven is a coastal city with a disproportionate crime rate. So of course, we're going to get bodies dumped in the water. But hydrologists have often talked about the city's river and coastal currents being strong and erratic for reasons they've never quite managed, to actually figure out. When I first transferred to the BPD, I remember hearing officers talk about confluence points where currents met and pushed against each other. There were always these rumors that bodies being dragged into these currents might be held in one place, piling up in a single spot over years, decades, the dead down in the rivers, waiting to actually resurface. And then she's like, the construction of Mayor Biogi's new superhighway means they're redirected some of the rivers, altering the actual currents itself. Okay, so what I've been told is we have a brand new confluence point right here. The road keeps giving and giving, doesn't it? And he's like, I reckon key evidence is close to half dozen cold cases literally just washed ashore, Commissioner Sawyer. Well then, yes, we better just drag it all up. And now since Dick Grayson hears about this, he actually drives on the superhighway to go to like this area to where they can actually figure out where these bodies and actually decode them with their DNA and actually maybe can get some clearance on why these people are dead. When he goes inside this room, he notices all these people piled up in like a pile of fat. This disgusting, look at that. And there's nothing they can do because it's waterlogged. It's just almost like fat in a pyramid form. I should say block, but honestly, how Nightwing describes it is like a soap-like wax. He says this complicates DNA extractions and obscures or destroys forensic evidence. And added bonus, it reeks of ammonia and overripe cheese. I could imagine this probably smells like pure ass. How the PD works, they're gonna just throw this into a cold storage and then it's gonna take months to figure out. But Nightwing, he's like, nah, I gotta do that now. I gotta give closure to these people and hopefully figure out like why are these people down here. He says, this is inevitable. The department is overstretched and there will always be fresher bodies in the examined, more immediate crimes that can be solved with the same resources. Maybe I can help. And this guy Nightwing puts a mask on and some gloves. He says, I count a dozen distinct corpses, I think. Some ponification has glued them together into a human fat bird. Separating them is grisly, but they deserve the dignity of their own graves at least. It's slow work and nauseating work. There's no surprise down here in this basement. I lose track of time. Stupid. I haven't really been sleeping since the crash. And he's been up for like a day already, like 24 freaking hours. While working all night, this laboratory scientist walks in and saying, my word, Nightwing. He closes the door and he says, listen, I used to work as a pathologist in Gotham. Assisted Batman a few times back in the day, talking about Batman Dark Patterns, which Dan Waters actually did write as well. He's like, how far have you gotten to actually help Nightwing decompose these people? He actually starts helping Nightwing. He says the work goes faster with two pairs of hands. The doctor's name is Vienna's Sarika. Together, we uncover the litany of Bloodhaven's tragedies. And he goes on to all the people that actually have died and discovers how they died from gunshot wounds, knives, and stuff like that. But one of the bodies has water in the lungs. Dental records identify him as a father, a missing person, assumed to have accidentally drowned 9 years ago. His now adult children still live in the city. Tomorrow, they will be notified and there will be tears. But at least they can finally move on. They can finally know for certain when we are down to the last two corpses, the work actually slows down. A jolt of terror passes through me when we identify a twisted piece of metal as a batarang, but the rusting proves it to be fake. Charlie Rifkin was a wannabe Batman copycat. His neck broke when he attempted to ripple from the side of the river to the other. One more body to go, but at this point, now it's like, ugh, like getting dizzy, like he's seeing stars at this point because how long he's been awake. And the scientist is like, Dick, Nightwing, you all right? I'm okay. Nightwing, I've been here for 18 hours. That means you've been here for 26. Go home, sleep. And he's like, I can't. Not yet. There's one more. All but one dead solved. That's more than we could have actually hoped for. It's excellent work. I don't know that this last John Doe will prove identifiable at all. And one across each hypotenuse, the outside of the palm. No DNA, no fingerprints on file. So you need to go home. He's like, all right, I try. I swear I tried. I don't feel safe to drive. I mean, to catch a subway to my safe houses instead, I end up back at the docks, back where they pull the bodies from the water. Nightwing starts walking, thinking that who were you? Like this person, this victim. Certain canals and rivers were rediverted for the highway, but there are only 3 you could have actually flowed to this point. Your face was broken post-mortem. Could have been the killer trying to make it so you can't be identifiable, but what if it was from being dragged along the, I guess, stony riverbed? Of the 3 waterways that lead here, only one has a fierce enough current and rough rock floor. Is this the rock you took? Is this where the city of Bloodhaven stripped you of everything you had been? But what about before that? You were struck 3 times in the face and on your hands. Or were you? And he goes to a Catholic church. When Nightwing gets to this church, he actually sits down in the auditorium. And the father comes in saying, I thought I heard the door. We don't hear the door too often these days. Just the sound of the highway, the rumble of the cars, and their horns. The father sits down saying that you look troubled, son. Something weighs heavy on your soul, Mr. Grayson. How did you keep a low profile these days, but the foundation you set up kept this church going last year. when our donations were not quite up to the task. Come, take confession, Mr. Grayson. Like, he knows that Dick needs help, like mentally, like he has guilt. So Nightwing gets into this box, right? And he's like, Father, I don't know how this works. And he's like, listen, there are bells and whistles, but we can forego them on in a night like this. So just tell me what's bothering you. He's like, I can't. I truly can't. Not for my sake, Father, but for others. I have secrets that I have to protect people. But right now, I wish I didn't have to. I wish I could actually tell you, Mr. Grayson, are you Nightwing? I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, they're blaming Nightwing for a deadly incident and guilt that's emanating from your body. Like, it's palpable. You're the right age. You have the resources. You can tell me. Confessions are sealed. I can't tell anyone. I cannot reveal anything you say to me here to any other party, and I would not do so, even under the threat of death. I understand secrets like those you speak of, those that brought you to the light, could cause untold harm to others. It is my belief that in these instances, God has decreed us capable of carrying this holy burden, and that makes it okay. It makes it lighter, just enough to actually bore. And this is the crazy revelation that Nightwing actually has figured. He's like, is that what you told the man you threw in the river? I'm like, oh, Father's evil. The father pauses because of course it's true. And Nightwing's like, we thought he'd been slashed 3 times, but the wounds on the hands, it was a single blow while he was praying, wasn't it? He was a drifter. He came to me just like you did, knelt right where you're kneeling. And then he told me the things he did. God help me, the things he actually did. I urged him to turn himself in, but he just laughed. He promised he was done with all that. He knew this meant I couldn't go to the police officer. I'm like, yeah, honestly, that's kind of messed up. This is kind of messed up what that guy did to the father, but does that make it right? Probably not. The father says, I didn't believe him. I knew he would do it again. So when he left, I followed him outside and I struck him in the head. Even though he prayed that he'll never do it, I just did it anyway. And Nightwing's like, well, I have to take you in, Father. I have to. But the father runs out. Oh God, God help me, please, please. And Nightwing is following him, running up the stairs, up to the attic, or I should say the rooftop of the church. Eventually, Nightwing gets to the roof and actually swings on like this pole or whatever to finally get to the father. And he's like, there's nowhere to run, Father. You must turn yourself in. I know, Lord, help me, I know. And then Nightwing's like, I thought your holy burden was light enough to bear, but not light enough to stop running from the truth, I guess. I don't run for my sake, boy. Do you know how many regulars I have in my congregation? 9. 4 of them over the age of 70. 3 have histories of addiction. All of them are struggling to survive in this heartbreaking city. This is my flock that I shepherd. They are fragile people. And if I'm taken away, murdered in a scandal, the church closes. And what happens to them, Nightwing? I didn't want to hurt anyone. Know that. But the things that man told me, I've read the Joker and what the Joker has done in Gotham. And this man might have been worse. I'm like, worse than the Joker? When Nightwing's looking at the father, he says, I've been trained to spot liars since I was a child. Every word this man says, he believes it to be the truth. Then he says to him, tell me what he did. Give me an excuse to let you go free right now. I cannot, Dick Grayson. Just I would never reveal your secrets. I cannot break this covenant with the Lord. But you killed the man. It doesn't matter. This is the line I draw. I'm like, hypocrisy at its finest. That's all we can do, isn't it? Sinners like us in a world so shaded with gray, draw our lines and do our best to untangle what's right and what's wrong, what we can live with. So what happens next? And now we have to wait until the next month for this book to come out to figure out what happened. This is actually very, very interesting. And we're going into I feel like a Daredevil route. I'm telling you, Dan Waters, I would love him to do Daredevil at one point because this reminds me a little bit Zdarsky and Frank Miller, just a little spice in there, but its own little take to it. It's been great.